The spirit of nature, nature's pulse. So what we're going to be thinking or talking about is how nature found its pulse. Like on that video, I showed you how, or kind of, hypothesized how nature found eyesight, you know what I mean? Like using water, its reflection and magnifying properties and all that kind of thing. In the same sense, we're looking at that same kind of thing to try and find like the pulse, or how did nature create the heartbeat? How did it contrive the imagination to create such a function? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like, how do you imagine? But as an example here, how waves work. It's like from ocean. You know what I mean? It's like when a root's in the water, and then you've got like waves coming. So it's like every time a root is absorbing the water, every time you've got a wave, which is like that's a push, and then in between the wave, the part which isn't, there's less pressure there. So every time there's more pressure, the root can feel it impacting it. You know what I mean? It's able to drink or absorb the water whilst the more pressure's there. When there's less pressure there, it's like there's a lack of pressure. So you know what I mean? It's like this is how it found a beat. You know what I mean? Or where to gain that from, kind of thing. Like, and you can see it. You know what I mean? Like in a repeated sense and stuff like. In water and stuff like, in water, in plants, and just how plants are in that kind of sense, or anything, it's like, what Bruce Lee said about, like, be water. You put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into a tree, it becomes a tree. You put water into a person, it becomes a person. It's the water that becomes it. You know what I mean? It's like basically saying that we are water. So all, you know what I mean? It's like this is how water expressed itself in a way. Well, it's a combination. It's like the light and the water is the initial aspect of things. Where life came from and stuff. It's like that light is like the source, like the code from spirituality. You know what I mean? In a sense, like when you look at like your light frequency of your chakras, your light body, and all that kind of thing, that's more akin to what we are. In a sense of like before we came here, like in the the planes of existence outside of this kind of thing. I kind of think it all works like that. You know what I mean? Everything's just a light frequency. It's the same as here, really. Everything's just a light frequency here. I've given the explanation before about like how the table is hard, you can bang on that and you can, there's an impact. It's solid from our perception, you know what I mean? It's like the frequency is emitting such a level that your fingers won't pass through it, you know what I mean? Like science, there's things to say about science is like that percentage chance that you'll be able to pass through a wall, but it doesn't happen because the odds are so stacked against you or whatever and stuff like. And it kind of makes sense in a way because it's like it's understanding the frequency because everything's the same thing anyway. You know what I mean? So it's just that we're all in different frequencies, and so so with that being like, yeah, everything's light, in that kind of sense. Everything's water, in another sense, it's like the yin yang of the world in a sense and stuff like. So I think I've lost train of thought a little bit, but yeah, this is where they found it. You know what I mean? It's pulse and stuff. You can see it here. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if these work the same as tree rings. You know what I mean? Like, is it seasonal? Like every year you've got like a ring to represent the winter season, um, or is that like monthly? Or I don't know. It might be different for creatures like that. Like, but it's almost like a representation of it. You can see the pattern. You know what I mean? It's like the tree. It's like the waves. You know what I mean? And the ocean and stuff. So it's like showing itself. You know what I mean? That's like the water aspect of things. You see, nature's being nature. Nature is expressing itself. You know what I mean? It has to adapt to what its surroundings are so it can progress further. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it has to see, like here, you see, they look like waves. I know, you know what I mean? It's again, it's like that speciation kind of side of things. You know what I mean? I'm speciating trees to water. It's like where they came from, and well, is it what the tree is rather than the tree being like its own thing? You know what I mean? It's like we all drink water, we all use water, everything that's living. I think pretty much everything. Like, um, you can just kind of see how it trails off. Oh, I can't get it to zoom in, kind of thing, but not zoom in, focus. I see these patterns. I see the grooves. It's like the water would follow the gaps, and the trees done the same thing. So we see it in different ways, you know, it's roots, it's rings, it's leaves and whatever else and stuff like. Um, you see, like this is like water, but with intention. So it's got a means to express that expression through, you know, this tree, which creation, which it's design kind of thing. So like, you know, once it created so much abundance of plant life, and then, you know, it created its insects or whatever, and whatever else it's kind of created, mammals, birds, fish, etc. and stuff like. It's all part of its way of exploring the world and stuff like. Um, so it's not just water. If it were just water, it'd be a waterfall. But like, in terms of like its intention, and its means to do that, you know what I mean? It even looks like animalistic to a certain degree and stuff like. So it's how it's springboard, how it's leapt into the world in such a variety of life and stuff. But it's like what the world is. It's made out of what we are, or what we were originally, in a sense. It's like the astral planes are all very like water in a way. You know what I mean? It's like there's no, you got no weight. It's like an up and down, but there's no. You can move around freely like a fish can in water. It's you're buoyant in the atmosphere, or however you describe it, or whatever and stuff like. But um, yeah, it's kind of like water, but at the same time, it's like blood vessels and all these kind of things and stuff. But it's how it overlaps and all that kind of thing. Like spills out. It's like almost like waterfalls and stuff. But a Tartarian tree. and a bit of speciation on the subject. The heart of an insect. It's usually like a length, and it's got like that's a bad picture. Like a tubular heart. That's better to describe it. And it's got like 4 or 5 kind of segments to it. I think maybe for like functioning in different parts of its body and stuff, it's different to us, isn't it? But it's still got a heart. You know what I mean? It's got these organs and stuff which are very familiar to us and stuff. And again, how like leaves are like leaves. I mean, the wings are like leaves. You know what I mean? And like I've shown you on other videos and stuff like multiple hearts, 5 in that one. It might have been 5 in the previous one, but it only had like 4 main ones. 4 with like a circling, like that one's got. I'll go back. So that last one ain't got a. So it's got like a tiny little mark. I don't know where it's. But it's the same as other ones, aren't it? Other ones look more specific. They've definitely got a dot in. You know what I mean? But the intricacy of it. You know what I mean? Oh, kind of. It's like basic at the same time, but like for all these functional parts that it's got. You know what I mean? And again, it's not much different. You know, it's got its brain, it's got its heart, it's got its intestine and stomach and etc. and stuff like. There's a sting there. It's a wasp. Or a bee. One or other. But then like a wasp, like, you know, they don't look much different from like ants and stuff. Going into the speciation side of things, like this here is like the leaf. You know what I mean? Even like the wings, like the leaf as well, isn't it? It's got that grain and stuff like. But again, that's like a leaf, like the fern leaves you get and stuff like. That's off a moth. So again, you know, it's like 2 different insects, and they're showing the same kind of characteristics of what we get in plants again and stuff like. Just like more speciation and that lot. But like the ant and the wasp, like an ant that can grow wings, you know, like a wasp can. An ant can have a sting as well, you know. But if it evolved into a wasp rather than staying an ant, why would ants still exist? You know, it's kind of like none of it really makes sense. It's like, you know what I mean, for like butterflies, in whichever area you're in, you should only get those type of butterflies there, really. You know what I mean? There's like lots of breeders of butterflies in this area, but nothing in terms of like. Well, it's not like the because it's like what food's available to them and what makes them like that, and you know, like the different forms of like evolution and stuff. Where was it? I've got loads of notes and it'll take me a while to look through. But there were 2 different types of evolution. One of them was mating different species, and then the other one was due to like habitual change. So like the fur had changed colour if it went into a colder climate to match the surroundings or something. But it'd take decades or generations and stuff like for it to happen. But you don't see that. You know, like, well, for example, with butterflies or whatever and stuff. There should be one which should be dominating. It's like there won't be one. Because there's so many different types. It doesn't make sense. And also, I wanted to add this. This is a unicorn horn. And something I wanted to point out about it, which is kind of like specific. is the fact that it follows the golden ratio. It's got the spiral. You know what I mean? And it's like the unicorn horns are supposed to be, we've got like psychic abilities or some sort of spiritual gifts from the horn and in, you know, according to myth and legend and stuff like. But also like the unicorns are everywhere in like symbology and its history and all this kind of thing like. So, but the fact that it's got this coil going around it, and that to be like a common thing on unicorns, then it's a really clever thing for someone to have suggested. You know what I mean? If someone like, you know, created it as like some sort of science fiction idea, you know what I mean? But then why, you know, there's a lot of questions. I'm more in favour because of, well, you know what it is. You know what I mean? It's like got that twist to it. Never narwhal, that whale. It's like a whale. I don't think it's officially a whale, but they've got like long sword-like horns on top of them and stuff. Yeah, that's just as a bonus though. But hang on. And that was it. On Star Trek, they had the. So it's a bit of a geeky bit of knowledge, but at the same time, it kind of fits. And you get all your truth in movies and TV series and all these kind of things. And this one on Deep Space Nine, you had the changeling race, and they used to go back into the ocean to be back with Source, with their family. Everybody else were all connected in this water. So it's like, it's almost like suggesting that once we're released from our bodies and we're no longer like trapped within it, the water that's in our body, it'll be going back through into Earth, and once it's there, it'll be connected with the rest of the water. You know what I mean? Maybe not once it's got to the ocean. It's like it'll take ages to get there. But once you're even in the soil, there's moisture in the soil. There's moisture in the air. So it doesn't really matter where you were, unless you were someone trapped you in a vase or something like that and understood the mechanics of it. But you know, it's more food for thought in that kind of sense. Like suggesting about where its origins are and stuff. And I think water is a big part of that, and light as well. Obviously, what was created from that, but they're like the primary, earlier stages kind of thing. And then obviously, you know, everything developed from there and stuff like that. You got your trees eventually, the bigger giant trees and the metals that came from there and stuff like that. You know, as complete, you know, when you go and be a tree of elements, what do you call it, periodic table and stuff. There's a lot of stuff there which probably weren't there at the beginning. You know what I mean? You have to create it, and then eventually things have come about and stuff like. Well, yeah, I think that's. I miss loads every time. You know what I mean? There's loads of stuff I want to say, and because I'm like trying to express it through video and trying to like remember everything I'm trying to say. It's like you can't remember everything you want to say. It's like better in a conversation because you can like, you know, bounce what you're trying to express and stuff like. But I'll try and remember in another video if there's anything else and stuff like, you know, in general, you know, if I want to make videos and stuff. Like I said, there's like the notes about speciation and evolution and all that kind of thing. Like I said, eventually I'll get them sorted out and stuff. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit. Nice one, cheers.